In the beginning of the story, we see a man named Dalton Russell in a prison cell. He looks at the camera and says, "My name is Dalton Russell, and I'm in this cell. I had planned a perfect bank robbery, and I succeeded in it. But I didn't do this robbery just for money. I did it to prove myself. Now, to know how I executed it, you'll have to hear my story." With this, the scene shifts to the past, and we see a van picking up some people from different locations. All of them are dressed like painters and wearing masks on their faces. The van stops near the Manhattan Trust Bank. Then we see that inside the bank, many people are busy with their own work. At that moment, we see Russell entering through the bank's main gate, holding a high-density torch in his hand. He places the torch on a table directly in front of a security camera and switches it on, because of which the camera feed becomes completely blank. Then we see his other partners entering the bank, also dressed in painter outfits. After entering, they close the bank door, which makes the security guard suspicious. But before he can react, Russell points a gun at him from behind and throws a smoke bomb, filling the bank with smoke. The robbers then order everyone at gunpoint to lie down on the floor. Meanwhile, a police officer sees smoke coming out from inside the bank and becomes suspicious. As he tries to move inside, Dalton comes out with a gun and says that they have taken everyone inside as hostages, and if the police enter, they will start killing the hostages. The officer then calls headquarters for backup, and after the police team arrives, they block the entire area based on the situation. During this time, Arthur Case, the owner of the bank, gets the news that his bank is being robbed. Hearing this, he becomes tense. He then calls power broker Madeline White and asks her to handle this case because he had something very important in one of the lockers of that branch. When she asks what's inside the locker, he says it contains some family heirlooms that he doesn't want falling into anyone's hands. Madeline says she will get it done. In another scene, we see Frazier and Mitchell, who work for the negotiation team, talking to each other. Frazier is smart and experienced, but he was under inquiry for an old case, so he couldn't do much officially. Still, he agrees to join the operation. Then Frazier goes with Mitchell to speak with Captain Darius, who is in charge of the case. Darius tells them that they still don't know how many people are taken hostage inside the bank or how many suspects there are. Frazier tells Darius that if he is given complete details of the case, he can control everything. Then they all go for dinner. Meanwhile, the robbers take all the hostages downstairs toward the safe room, where the bank employees and other customers are lined up separately. Dalton tells everyone to take out their handbags, mobile phones, and keys and hold them in their hands so that the robbers can collect everything in a bag. One employee doesn't give his phone and says he left it at home. Dalton doesn't believe him and questions him strictly, but the man repeats the same thing. Dalton then checks another employee's phone and finds the man's number saved on speed dial. When Dalton calls the number, the phone rings inside the man's office. Seeing this, Dalton takes him inside the office and beats him badly. Witnessing this, the other hostages get scared and hand over all their remaining belongings. A small child gives Dalton his video game, but Dalton kindly returns it to him. After this, Dalton makes everyone stand together and then separates them based on gender. Then he orders them to remove all their clothes except their undergarments. An old lady refuses to take off her clothes, so a female robber takes her to a separate room. Meanwhile, the other robbers give identical suits and masks to the hostages, the outfits they brought with them. Some time passes, and an old bank employee who had a heart condition starts feeling unwell. Dalton and his team let him go outside the bank. As soon as he comes out, the police order him to get on his knees and capture him. They ask about the situation inside, and he tells them that if the police enter the bank, the robbers will kill 2 people. Meanwhile, the robbers continue checking the other hostages and examine the entire bank. They move through the safe room and lockers and reach a back room where office supplies are kept. Later, we see one of the robbers digging into the bank floor. At this time, Frazier and Mitchell learn from the man who came outside that there are 4 robbers inside. Darius tells them that he is waiting for the bank's CCTV footage from before the robbery so he can better understand the actual situation inside. He also says all calls from the bank are diverted to them, and now it's up to Frazier to decide what to do next. Frazier feels it's not the right time to talk to the robbers because he wants to see what their next move will be. During this waiting period, Mitchell finds the robbers' van parked outside, which they assume is stolen. Finally, after some time, Fraser decides to speak to Dalton and calls the bank, but Dalton doesn't pick up. Just then, the CCTV footage arrives, and the team starts checking it, but they find no clues because the robbers had already blinded the cameras using high-density lights. At the same time, some movement is seen near the bank's front, and all police officers run in that direction. Right at that moment, Madeline goes to meet the mayor of New York. She tells him she needs his help for one of her clients because she is monitoring the hostages for him. She says she needs to find a way to get inside the bank along with a small security team. At first, the mayor clearly refuses, but after Madeline insists a lot, he finally agrees. Meanwhile, the robbers release another hostage with a message. As soon as that hostage comes out, all the police officers grab him. He was a Sikh, but by mistake they think he is an Arab man, and they disrespect his religion by forcefully removing his turban. They beat him badly and drag him inside a restaurant to interrogate him. The Sikh man gets very angry, but somehow they manage to calm him down. Then he tells them that inside there are at least 20 to 30 more hostages, and the robbers are foreigners. After this, the officers read the message that the robbers sent with the hostage. The message stated that they wanted 2 buses and 1 jumbo jet, which must be delivered to them by 9 p.m. And if the police did not fulfill their demands, they would kill 1 hostage every hour. It was also written that the bank was rigged from inside with plastic explosives. The police then send a message to the bank phone, in which Darius says they cannot arrange a jet, but the buses are possible. Fraser says that unless the robbers talk to them, they won't get anything, not even a cup of coffee. At this moment, Arthur Case arrives and says that maybe he can help them and asks what the robbers' demands are. When the officers say the robbers want a plane, he says he can arrange it. All the cops get shocked, wondering why he is even staying there. Case wanted to stay and keep an eye on the situation and the progress with his own eyes, but they convince him to leave. Meanwhile, another message from the robbers arrives saying they need food. The police take this as a good opportunity because along with food, they can send devices inside to listen to the conversations happening in the bank. The tapping device in charge suggests pizza because people will gather in one place to eat and talk among themselves, allowing clearer audio. Fraser asks her about the device, and she says it is a digital device that can record for 30 seconds. Inside the bank, one hostage tries to act smart, so the robbers beat him and drag him to the room where the office supplies were kept. After some time, their ordered food arrives. Fraser supervises everything and watches the food being delivered safely to the robbers. He introduces himself to Dalton and asks him to pick up the phone so he can talk to him, but Dalton does not respond. After that, the police try to hear the conversations inside using the audio devices and find out the robbers are speaking in a different language. Fraser guesses it might be Russian. He sends Mitchell to ask the previously released hostage whether he heard anyone speaking Russian inside the bank. Meanwhile, inside the bank, the robbers take one female hostage and lock her in another room, and the female robber takes her place in the main room, pretending to be a hostage. Similarly, they lock another lady in a third room. Finally, we see the real female robber digging a hole in the supply room. On the other side, the police talk to a cop who knows Russian. He says the recorded language sounds like Russian, but in reality, it is Bulgarian, which is spoken in Central Europe. Suddenly, Fraser gets an idea. They play the recording outside where the public is gathered, hoping someone who knows the language might hear it and identify it. The idea works. A construction worker recognizes the language and says it is Albanian because his ex-wife was Albanian. The team then tries to contact the Albanian consulate, but cannot reach them. Finally, they call the construction worker's ex-wife. She arrives, and after being told the situation, she demands that they waive off her parking tickets in return. Fraser gives her the recording and asks her to listen carefully and explain it. The woman laughs and says not only does she know exactly what is being said, she also knows who is speaking. The police become very excited to know more, but their excitement turns into disappointment when she reveals that the voice belonged to a former communist president, and the recording was actually from a speech. Inside the bank, Dalton checks each safe deposit box one by one, but takes nothing. Soon we see him and his partner opening one specific safe deposit box. Inside they find a bundle of important documents, a small pouch filled with something heavy, and a Cartier ring. Dalton keeps the documents with himself, and his partner returns the rest of the items into the box. At that moment, Madeline arrives with the mayor's permission and goes to the detectives standing outside the bank. They introduce themselves, and Madeline briefly explains the purpose of her visit. Frazier doesn't seem interested in taking her help, so they try to blackmail him using his old pending case. Frazier finally agrees and picks up the phone, but the conversation leads nowhere because Dalton keeps repeating the same thing, that if his demands are not met, he will kill the hostages. In the next conversation, Dalton repeats the same lines again. Frazier feels that if he can somehow buy more time from the robbers, it will help them in making a strategy. With this thought, he offers them more food. Dalton agrees and asks them to send sandwiches. After this, the robbers check the hole they had dug in the supply room, which was going to become a major part of their robbery plan. Following his conversation with Dalton, Madeline also talks to him. She convinces Dalton for a face-to-face meeting, and Frazier personally escorts her to the bank. He is worried she might do something reckless, but she assures him she will handle everything. When she enters the bank, she looks around and then walks toward Dalton. During their conversation, she offers him minimum punishment and $2 million in exchange for the safe deposit box. Dalton tells Madeline that he knows. He asks her whom she is working for and tells her that he also knows about Case. He says that during World War II, Case was a Nazi collaborator when he used to work in Switzerland. Madeline tells him that she only wants to see what is inside his deposit box. On this, Dalton offers her a deal. He says he will keep the box with him, and if he gets caught in this robbery, she will help him in return. When Madeline comes out of the bank, she tells Frazier that she gave the robber a second offer, and they are thinking about it. When Frazier asks her about Dalton, Madeline tells him that Dalton is very smart, but he is not a murderer. For a while, the three cops discuss Dalton among themselves to reach a conclusion. Frazier feels that sitting outside and talking like this will not solve anything, so he decides to go inside the bank. He calls Dalton and tells him that if he allows him to come inside and check the hostages, they can provide the jet. Dalton agrees. Then we see Frazier entering the bank. They take him to the hostage room where he sees all the hostages safe and asks them if anyone has seen the robbers' faces. Everyone says no. He promises them that he will get all of them safely out of there. Before leaving, Frazier talks to Dalton face-to-face. He tries to distract him with conversation so he can pull off Dalton's mask, but at the right moment another robber stops him. Angered by Frazier's action, Dalton again demands the bus. After that, he goes to the supply room and asks his partner how much more time the job will take. His partner replies that he needs another 2 to 3 hours to finish. Frazier returns to the van and tells Darius that Dalton is not a killer and that they should wait a bit longer to figure out his next move. Meanwhile, they receive a call from Dalton asking them to point the cameras toward the window. When they turn the cameras, they see Dalton holding a gun and shooting a hostage dead. Seeing this, Darius considers it Frazier's failure and takes full control of the case. He plans to send the tactical team inside the bank as soon as possible. But sending the tactical team inside is a big challenge. To avoid casualties, using rubber bullets is the only solution. Mitchell thinks that if something goes wrong, Frazier will be blamed. But Frazier says he had made a deal with them and will prove to be a good detective. Before Darius can send the tactical team inside, Frazier discovers that the robbers are listening to all their conversations through a transmitter placed inside the driver's cabin. He tells Darius to inform the captain, but Darius ignores him and continues with his plan. Inside the bank, after hearing everything, Dalton throws smoke grenades, and before the cops can enter, he sends all the hostages outside. As soon as they come out, the tactical team orders all hostages to lie on the ground and then arrests them. After that, they enter the bank to catch the robbers and to bring out any dead body if found. They check all rooms, the safe, and the supply room, but they find nothing. Nothing was stolen from the bank, either. The cops also noticed that the robbers' guns were actually toys, and the killing of the hostage was also a lie. Meanwhile, all the hostages, including the robbers disguised among them, are taken to the police station for questioning. They had blended in so perfectly that no one could tell who was a hostage and who was a robber. Because of this, Frazier's captain tells him the case now makes no sense since nothing was stolen and no one was caught. Frazier didn't expect this, but he refuses to give up. When he checks all the lockers and safes, he discovers that the details of the safe deposit box are missing. Then he meets Madeline and plays the recording where the mayor and Madeline were blackmailing him. He tells her he didn't tell anyone about the recording, but in return, he wants information about the box. Madeline gives him a small hint and asks him to stop the matter right there. Then she goes to meet Case. She tells Case that he shouldn't worry about Frazier. Those documents will not fall into his hands because Dalton took the documents with him as a guarantee. If he gets caught, he can use the box and take their help in exchange. Madeline knew that besides the documents, there were diamonds in the safe as well. Case tells her that there was also a Cartier ring in the box, which belonged to his Jewish friend, whom he had saved from the Nazis. The Nazis had paid him a huge amount for it. After this, he gives Madeline her fee and sends her away. The scene shifts, and we see Dalton in the same prison-like cell where he was telling everyone his strawberry story, how he pulled off such a big robbery while staying inside one room. This was the same cell that his partners had created by digging inside the supply room and hiding it behind a trick wall. Now Dalton has the diamond ring and the documents. He breaks the trick wall, walks out easily, and exits through the bank's front gate like a normal customer. All his partners are waiting for him outside in a car. While Frazier and Mitchell are entering the bank, Dalton bumps into Frazier on his way out, but Frazier fails to recognize him. Later, he finds a chewing gum ring and a note inside it that says, "Follow the ring." Frazier goes to Case to talk about the box because he suspects that behind this secret, there is something. There must be a bad reason. Case tries to answer all his questions cleverly, showing him that ring. He says that the day he gets full information about this ring, he will reveal everything. After this, when he meets Michelle, both of them laugh and feel very happy that they have put Case in his place. Later, Frazier goes with Madeline to the mayor's lunch and shows them that Cartier ring, and also gives them the number of the War Crime Issues office in Washington, D.C., so that Madeline can clear the false charges placed on her. After this, he gives Madeline her recording back. Friends, if you enjoyed the explanation, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks.